Hey friends, come on in, come on in. Type in freedom now. It's so good to be with you today. I'm Latoya McBean Pompy, an immigration lawyer in New York, working with clients nationwide at McBean Law. If you're joining me for the first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. We want you to type in freedom now. Why? Because freedom is really the heartbeat of McBean Law, and certainly it is the heartbeat of immigrants across the globe, really. So type in freedom now, freedom now. It's so nice to be with you again. On Saturday, we had a terrific time together. If you had not seen Saturday's live session where I covered quite a bit of important immigration news, including the fact that ICE it is being reported by Fox News, News Nation, The Hill, and some others that ICE is changing their strategy with regard to the widespread raids that we've seen throughout the country, terrifying scenes of them pulling people off the streets at Home Depot and other places like that out of their cars and just going into the neighborhoods, walking around the neighborhoods and terrifying people. Apparently, the government, from some report that is coming out from the government, they are changing gears, they're changing the strategy, and many of you have since responded to my live session saying, I'll believe it when I see it. And I'm with you. I am with you on that, okay? I We will believe it when we see it. I'm optimistic that they're going to do it. Why? Because of the Poland. Things have been really rough for this administration on the Poland side, and Americans really do not like what they're seeing. And Americans are reporting that they are feeling less safe. So I'm cautiously optimistic that the raids will die down. However, what you should keep in mind is, although they're saying that the community raids will die down, they are still going to have a presence in those particularly sanctuary cities, right? A presence with those checkpoints, those police checkpoints, where they will still set up those structured control stops and run people through the various tools that they have to determine whether individuals have a criminal record or not. Undocumented individuals is who they're going to be targeting with a criminal conviction. They're looking again at, so they say, we will believe it when we see it. I believe it, but they will look for people who have the serious criminal conviction. Thank you guys so much for being here today, and thank you for sharing these videos with other people. So what else is there what could we possibly have to talk about today? I mean, after all, we only had a 1 day break, right? Sunday. Well, there are some other things to discuss. The first of which, friends, has to do with, and I believe I touched on this briefly, very briefly on Saturday. It has to do with the fact that USCIS is now requiring new photos from applicants. They say that this is to prevent fraud. So for those of you who have a case pending with immigration and your case has been pending for at least 3 years, the government is going to be sending you a biometrics notice. USCIS has issued new policy guidance effective immediately, tightening photo requirements for immigration documents by limiting the use of photos to those taken within 3 years of filing, and ending the acceptance of self-submitted photos. Under this update, under this new policy, only photos captured by USCIS or other authorized entities will be used, okay? Reversing COVID-19 era flexibilities that allowed photo reuse for up to 10 years. Um, uh, and so they are going to be sending out biometrics notices. So this is going to impact those of you who have a long pending case. The change is part of DHS's broader effort to modernize their screening and national security um, uh, capabilities, I guess, I don't know. And it applies to applications that include forms I-90, I-485, N-400, and N-600, which will now require new photos. Oh, I'm now seeing this part for the first time, which will now require new photos regardless of when a prior photo was taken. These, the I-90, the I-485, the N-400, and N-600 will require new photos regardless of when a prior photo was taken. So more biometrics notices are coming out, so don't be too afraid if they send you a biometrics notice and you say to yourself, well, what's happening here? Am I being targeted? What's going on here? Do not panic, okay? This is going to impact, I guess, a lot of applications. All right, so secondly, friends, and this is just an update about the H-1B $100,000 fee, visa application fee. There's a new lawsuit, and you guys know that the Chamber of Commerce and others had already sued the administration for to get rid of or to stop this $100,000 fee that came out in September under a new proclamation. California and 19 other states have filed a federal lawsuit seeking to block the Trump administration's newly announced $100,000 fee on H-1B visas, arguing it exceeds its legal authority and violates federal law, by far surpassing the actual cost of administering the program. This is led by California's Attorney General, and the states contend the fee would place severe financial strain on employers in critical sectors like technology, healthcare, and education, worsen labor shortages, and unlawfully generate revenue without congressional approval. So this is another one, another lawsuit challenging the $100,000 fee. Thirdly, friends, TPS for Ethiopia is ending, okay? TPS for Ethiopia will be ending February 13th, 2026. DHS announced this last week, and in their statement, they say TPS designations are time limited and were never meant to be a ticket to permanent residency. The announcement also says here that Ethiopian nationals with no other lawful basis for remaining in the United States have 60 days to voluntarily depart. Of course, this voluntary departure language is part of every announcement that they make about something ending. Okay, something ends, then you have to leave. That's how they have been framing everything. It also says here that after February 13th, 2026, the Department of Homeland Security may arrest and deport any Ethiopian national without status after their TPS has been terminated. If an alien forces DHS to arrest and remove them, they may never be allowed to return to the United States. So, guys, do not take your legal advice from various DHS announcements with respect to whether you can return to the United States or not. You have to speak one-on-one. Your ability to return to the United States is always going to be based on your your background, and some other factors, and of course, the law. So do not take legal advice, I think, from these announcements with respect to coming back to America, your ability to come back to the United States. And then let's see, friends, I'm looking here. Let's see something here. The last piece, piece of information that I just want to touch on with you has to do with something that I think we should all be watching, okay? And this is out of Wisconsin, and this has to do with a judge. Guys, remember that judge who is accused of helping an immigrant evade ICE, by letting an immigrant who was in her courtroom out through a side door. Federal prosecutors have begun presenting their case against Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan, who is charged with obstruction and concealing an individual after allegedly helping a Mexican immigrant evade federal immigration agents at a courthouse in April. And this case carries a potential sentence of up to 6 years in prison. And it has become a flashpoint in President Trump's immigration crackdown. I don't know about it being a flashpoint, but it's a big case. It's important to watch it. And Republicans are calling, obviously, for harsh punishment, while Democrats are arguing that prosecution is meant to intimidate the judiciary. Prosecutors allege that Judge Dugan directed agents away and escorted the immigrant out of a back door before his eventual arrest. While Dugan maintains she was following courthouse protocols and acting within her judicial role, an argument which is rejected by the court. Um, it has her she's already been suspended from the bench, guys. She's been suspended, and this is definitely a high-profile trial. So let's keep watching that one. What will happen with this trial involving this judge out of Wisconsin, and see how far things are going to go there. All right. So with that being said, guys, let's go into your immigration questions. Happy to answer questions that you have. Keep in mind, too, that we have a free newsletter that provides weekly immigration news summaries, Q&As, answers to your questions, and good news stories to keep you encouraged and other things. Subscribe today at McBeanLaw.com/subscribe. If you're joining from TikTok and you have not yet started following, hit that follow so that you will be in the know each week as I go live. Someone is asking about the family reunification program. I came under that. What should I do now? Well, you should speak with your lawyer about what you should do specifically, but the government has ended that program, which was an invitation to family members from certain countries like Colombia, Cuba, Haiti, and some other countries. And so if you have an adjustment of status application pending, you do not need to leave the United States. You can wait until your application has been decided by USCIS. But the government, in its announcement, is urging people to leave. But watch my video from Saturday. I think that's when, yeah, Saturday, okay? I went into a lot more details about the family reunification parole program that has ended. Thank you guys for being here. Tell me where you're joining from today as well. Freedom Now. What's going on with immigrants who are traveling in state? So domestic travel, TSA is sharing all traveler information to ICE, so that ICE can run those names through their database to determine whether an individual has a removal order. And if you have a removal order, my understanding is that they are coordinating the arrest at these airports if you have a removal order. So do not travel if you have a removal order. Can I have your number, please? Sure. Our phone number is in the bio page of the app, wherever you're catching us today. It's 914-898-9488. Or you could also go to McBeanLaw.com for more information. Let's see. So right now, they're not going to arrest undocumented without a criminal record. Is that what you're asking? Is that what you're saying, Attorney McBean Pompy? So what I'm saying is this, that ICE, from what is being reported, will be targeting convicted felons, people with a conviction, okay, felony conviction or serious criminal record. I've seen both in the language from various news sources. So it's going to be more targeted, except for what's happening now in New Orleans. They have a 5,000 arrest quota. They're nowhere near those numbers, and it's being reported that they're still going to try to be aggressive in New Orleans to finish up the project there. And and move on from there, and just go back to targeted enforcement efforts. But the police stops, the checkpoint stops, I should say, is it's historically it's a way that law enforcement catches individuals who have a criminal record. So they're going to really continue those. I'm not saying that they will not arrest an undocumented person who does not have a criminal record, because arrests can still happen. And I expect them to still happen at USCIS field offices for various reasons, because USCIS is working closer now on the law enforcement side. And so if they believe that a person has committed immigration fraud, they will coordinate those arrests at the field office there, at USCIS. If incidentally you're in an area and ICE is making a targeted arrest, like they said a year ago, if they're making these targeted arrests and you just happen to be there, you're considered a collateral arrest. So they could still arrest people who they could still arrest people. I'm not sure what's going on here. They could still arrest people who do not have a criminal record if they chose to. But as far as going to Home Depot and Walmart and stopping people and asking, "Are you from here? Where are you from?" Right? I'm now realizing that there's a little bit of an issue. My understanding is they're not going to be doing that. We'll see. I'll believe it when I see it. This is one of those Thomas moments. I'll believe it when I see it. Fresno, California is in the house. Can someone with DACA travel on a plane within the United States? Someone is asking on Instagram. Yes, I believe you can travel. Again, the big issue is, do you have a removal order? Although a person with DACA is protected from deportation, but you can, so you should be fine with your travel. Does 204C, a 204C marriage fraud file and block asylum approval? A person can be approved for asylum, but they will not be able to get the green card through adjustment of status due to the 204C finding. Or yeah, the 204C is it's a real strong bar, and if there's just allegations of fraud, you you could attack it, you could argue it down. But it blocks people from getting a green card. It's a permanent situation, permanent bar. In some limited circumstances, can a person really overcome? It's just a very strong bar in our system. If someone has an I-45 pending, is that person saved? Will that person be okay? Yes, for now, you're in a period of authorized stay. You should be okay. It just depends on your background and if they're going to call you in for an interview and find other things on your record. What should you do if you've submitted an appeal of a removal order and it's still pending? You just have to wait until you get a decision on your appeal. Someone says here that I've updated my address. I did know I had to update my address. It's been almost a year. I did update it today. Okay, so this person says, I've updated my address. I'm a green card holder. I do not have a criminal record, just a subway ticket with a penalty that I've paid. Am I in trouble? No, you should be perfectly fine. Can Haitians apply for adjustment of status? Haitians can apply for adjustment of status. The applications are paused, unfortunately, at this time, but there is a way to challenge it through mandamus litigation. But it is they're not moving forward with those applications at this time. Can someone be deported whose TPS is ending on February 3rd for Haiti if that person is pregnant? Yes, they can deport someone who is pregnant. They can, but you should seek out legal advice to see if there's any other way for you forward. Let's see, let's keep going. Can a green card holder Can a green card holder parent file for an unmarried daughter who's older than 21? Yes. Yes, you can do that and get that child or that adult, the adult child in line right away with a filing. Chicago is in the house. Good to see you. Samson from Chicago. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Double tap the screen, guys, if you're joining on TikTok, and give me a follow so that you'll be in the know when I go live each week. Thank you. And follow my stories on whatever platform you watch, you're following. Thank you. Can a person file for abandonment when they have a removal order? So when I think this person is referring to a VAWA case as a victim, and yes, you could file, you could do the I-360 and wait for its approval. The removal case will need to be reopened though at some point down the road after your I-360 has been approved. Are they denying people who have ever had government assist them? I don't. This is not a widespread problem right now. The public charge rules have been strengthened. I mean, like not strengthened, but they've really been pushed very far, really, really, really far, and it's still in the proposal phase right now. I don't know about any widespread denials. I've only heard actually about one denial through the grapevine from another attorney. I don't know what the basis of that denial was specifically. I do know it's related to public charge, but I didn't read the denial letter to know what else the government had argued. But government assistance is not something that if you're not eligible for it, obviously most people will never get it because they're not eligible, and it's hard to get if you're not eligible for it. But I do know also that some people do get it, and you should not get it if you're not eligible, guys. You've got to not do that for sure. It rarely happens, I think. Okay. Let's see. Would the new biometrics rule affect people with conditional green cards? Yes, I think so, because the government is saying here that they didn't mention the I-751 as far as if someone on my end could pull up the full announcement, that would be great, and I could take a quick look at it. But I didn't see, from what I've seen so far, I didn't see the I-751 mentioned as far as, the fact that they need to recapture the photo of these individuals taken in any, it could be less than 3 years. I didn't see the I-751 on that particular list, but it should be on the list of those who, if you have an old photo that was taken more than 3 years ago and your case is still pending, I would assume that you would believe that you would be one who would get a biometrics notice. Again, do not be afraid of going in and doing your biometrics. Let's see. Are there interviews for marriage-based applications? Yes, they are interviewing many couples who are going through the marriage-based green card process. Can I travel with advanced parole pending VAWA? I already have my prima facie. You can travel if you have if you don't have a criminal record. I have not heard about any problems specifically with those on advanced parole traveling. Okay, let's see what else you have. How the F3 category, someone is asking how long is the F3 category taken? Check out the visa bulletin for December, please. That's where you're going to find that information. And let's just pull it up here. This is Visa Bulletin, December 2025. see. What's going on with parole in place, military parole in place? It's still an option. It's still on the table. I have not heard. It's still there. It is still there. Freedom Now. Thank you. Friends, we are based in White Plains, New York. White Plains, New York, but we work virtually with clients across the globe and, of course, around America. If you're in Florida, we could help you there. If you're in California, we could work with you anywhere. Virginia, Atlanta, Georgia, all over. Let's see. If you have a pending, if you have TPS for Haiti and you have a pending adjustment of status case, do you think they are going to want that person to leave the United States since TPS for Haiti would be over soon? So you have a right, if you have a pending adjustment of status case, you have a right to allow that case to continue processing. You do not have to leave the United States when you have a pending adjustment of status. Is it normal that they're taking so long to approve work permits? Work permits, from what I understand across the board, have slowed down. And as you guys know, the government recently announced that they are shifting their focus and their resources to other things. And most every case will be slowed down as a result of their shifted focus on reviewing the applications and approvals from the 19 travel ban countries and their renewed focus on all asylum cases that are pending with them at this time at USCIS. So EADs and other things like those applications will be slowed down. If you've received a letter about deportation, take it very seriously. Someone is asking. Also, guys, take very seriously the letter that many of you have received about the fine. Some of you have gotten a $3,000 fine. Others have gotten 1.8 million. Others 2.3. That's the highest I've seen is 2.3. The fees quickly go up, and also what quickly happens, like immediately, which is a problem with due process. They're sending these notices to employers for garnishment. And some people are finding out about these fines for the first time when an employer comes to them and say, "What's this? I received a letter from the Department of Homeland Security saying that I need to comply with this garnishment request regarding your salary." And some people, literally, I've met with them, are blindsided. I met with one person who was blindsided. Most everyone else knew about it because they had gotten the letters prior to the garnishment starting. They had gotten notice of it. But I met with one person who did not receive notice of it. And in her case, she received notice when her employer said, "What's this?" No employer wants, you do not want to have that discussion with an employer. Trust me. Trust me, you don't want that. And so pay attention, act swiftly if you do get the fine. There are steps that could be taken if you receive that fine from the government. Is the immigration pause still in effect? Yes, it is. Pause on those 19 countries, not pause on everything related to immigration. Okay, immigration is still moving and working and open. They're still open for business. Okay, let's see. If a person has a pending VAWA case and then remarried, submitted a new application, when is it okay to withdraw, and does withdrawing slow down the I-485? It's tricky with what what exactly are you withdrawing here? Are you trying to withdraw that VAWA case and you have a pending, what do you want to withdraw? I'm a little confused by your facts. You've remarried, you've submitted a new application. Are you trying to withdraw the new application? What's going on there? Let's go one-on-one. I can't answer that question in a good way for $9.99 over a super chat. I'm trying to piece it together, but it's hard. But what I will say is this, that withdrawing a case is really risky. It's risky, and you've got to be careful about what you're withdrawing, because a withdrawal these days is triggering a notice to appear for the people who we've been meeting with. Okay, so be very careful about the withdrawal. Get one-on-one with your lawyer if you have one. If you don't have one, seek a second opinion. Seek an opinion from me, from someone else, one-on-one about something like that before you withdraw an application. Okay, let's see. From Vegas, hello there. My husband had cancellation of removal granted in 2012 by the immigration judge. So can criminal charges he had at that time still be brought up? Criminal charges that he had, I think he'll be okay. He'll be okay. He still has his green card. He should have his green card, obviously, by this point, because cancellation was granted those many years ago. I would say he shouldn't travel on that green card at that time, and maybe wait until Trump leaves office before applying for citizenship. Let's see. What's the difference between having an immigration lawyer and filing it for yourself? That's a very broad question. It's going to be it's going to come down to your individual comfort level and what type of case you have. I would make an argument that most marriage cases during this time would require, I think, an attorney's help. Other cases you could comfortably file on your own if you're filing for a parent or a child. If it's an employer filing, obviously the employer has a lawyer for a reason, because there are multiple complex steps involved in an employment process. If a person is in immigration court, I make the argument that they shouldn't do it alone, because there's a lot involved with helping going through the immigration process in court. So you would need to, it depends on the case and the facts and the circumstances. And, you know, that's all I'm going to say about that. It really will depend on the facts and what type of case it is. Okay, let's go down here. Thank you. Let's keep the chat active. Type in freedom now. Let's see, I've already answered the question about government assistance. There's no blanket denial of cases right now involving government assistance, but public charge rules are, the rules are proposed, and they're very harsh. They're really harsh. See some spam in here. I'm just going to scroll down. I haven't heard any updates about the Dignity Act as of late. I have not heard about it. Let's see. My wife has a green card and I have TPS. We're both from Haiti. Could she apply for a green card and work authorization for me? Yes, she can. Yes, she can. But at this time, the government, there's a pause right now on those types of applications. There's a way, of course, to fight it through a mandamus, and lawsuits are being planned. And right now, as we speak, lawsuits are being planned and worked on to target this whole unfair, awful pause of applications. Okay, let's go down a little bit. Who are getting the letters for the fines for $1 million? These are individuals who have a final order of removal and they're still here in the United States. those are the individuals who the government has been sending out these $1 million or $3,000 fines to. And right now, we've seen the spectrum here with regard to the fines. And even some people got the $3,000 fine who have a removal order from 2006. And then we've seen people and have clients who had gotten a $1.8 million fine, who had gotten a removal order 2004, 2002, earlier. There is no transparency and clarity right now in terms of how this fine is actually being calculated. It's really, it's dark right now, and there are ways of addressing it, but take it very seriously because, again, the last person you'd really want to hear from about this fine is an employer saying, "What is this?" Right? What is this? I have to garnish. No, employers, first of all, don't like to do the whole garnishment thing. It's a big pain in the butt. It's awful. And then on top of that, there's an immigration problem. So please pay attention to your mail. What can you do to not withdraw an I-485? Is there another way around it? Speak with someone about why the thought is even there to withdraw the I-485, and if it's better for you to not withdraw it and go to an interview and explain certain things at that interview. A lawyer might very well tell you to do it that way versus prematurely withdrawing it and cutting off the government's ability to go all the way until the end with your case. For some people, it will make sense, but for other people, it's going to be very, very risky. So it depends on what your record is currently and whether you should move forward with withdrawing the case. Let's go down a little bit here. Yes, the cases, the pause that's in effect right now is also impacting those outside of the United States waiting for a visa. Do I have to rehire you for my master calendar hearing that I saw yesterday? I don't know about the rehire part. If you were a client of ours, you should call us and speak one-on-one with us. But anyway, if a person has a master calendar coming up, they should absolutely speak with an immigration lawyer to strategize right away. Keep in mind, for those of you in the New York area, that they recently fired about eight judges. I think it was eight judges recently, and some dockets. Things are going to slow down in Manhattan as they are shuffling things around. So, pay attention certainly to the online EOIR system for any updates with changes to upcoming hearings for you. So I'm expecting things to really slow down in Manhattan. Okay, let's see. Can ICE arrest someone who has a master calendar hearing coming up? Um, they're, you're really not the one that they're looking for at this time. Really, no. No, once you're already in the removal system, they're not sitting there saying, "Oh, this person has a hearing coming up," right? This is the one whose door we're going to go to and knock on that, well, kick down from what we've seen, some doors. No, they're not doing that. But what they were doing in Manhattan in particular, they were arresting people at the hearings, people who have a criminal record. They've labeled them criminal aliens, and those are the ones who they were really going after. And in other parts of the country too, but Manhattan more so than any other immigration court. That's what they were doing after a hearing. So it's advisable to seek a virtual hearing if you can, a WebEx hearing, so that you wouldn't have to show up to court. And I still think a WebEx hearing is a good idea for individuals. If you're able to get a WebEx hearing, go for it. Seek it, I should say. Okay, good question. I'm not sure I have an answer for this one as yet. I have to check with our attorney who handles all of the consular cases to see what she's heard, but someone is asking for an update on visitors from countries who are on the list on the list to be fined $5,000 or $15,000 just for a visa to come to the United States. If they have to use specific airports when they arrive, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I have not been following that issue closely to know what's really going on with the embassies, how they're using their discretion to apply $5,000 visitor bond to someone versus a 10,000 or 15,000, and how this is working right now in practice. I'll have to see what I could hear, what I could understand from one of my colleagues. Thank you. Freedom now. Okay, let's go down a little bit. Let's see. Can I file my N-400 application without including joint tax filings, since we have also always filed our taxes separately? That's your decision to make as far as including as far as whether you're going to file jointly. First, let me back up. With respect to the taxes, whether you file jointly or separately, that's going to be based on your circumstances. A joint filing always strengthens a marriage case when one is going through the green card process. But it's not absolutely required that couples do it that way. What's really key is that you didn't commit any fraud with respect to your filing. And so if you are married each tax year, you'd have to select that you're filing jointly or married filing separately. That's really what the government is looking for there, to see that you didn't commit any fraud in the to the IRS. Okay, so those are really the key issues for immigration. If you're trying to do early naturalization through marriage, filing jointly helps, right? It also helps to make a good argument that you guys are still together. It is, and sharing your responsibilities. That's what it does. If yours is a case that need that additional boost and you could afford to do it jointly, for some couples it really makes sense financially to file jointly. Other times it could be a real bear to deal with. But that's between you and your accountant. Let's see. Freedom now, guys. Can you handle an immigration case in Maryland? Yes, and we do have clients in Maryland. My case was approved on October 31st, but I still have not received my card yet. You can contact USCIS to find out what's going on. I was in a fight with my roommate. The case was dismissed and sealed. Can I still be deported? I have a 10-year green card. I think you'll be fine, Tanya. I've heard this story so many times, by the way. People always get into fights with roommates. It happens so frequently. Um, When someone is released on bond, does the judge change who was taking care of your case while you were detained? It's possible the court can change the docket whenever it chooses to. So you can start off with one judge and then you might end up with another judge, particularly if that person is fired. So they can move these people around whenever they choose to. Thank you. Freedom now. Let's see. Someone is asking on Instagram about whether I've heard about those going through adjustment of status folks who are at adjustment of status interviews through a marriage filing, whether questions are asked about a pending asylum case that they also have with immigration. I have heard that and seen some people come to us who were questioned during their marriage case about the asylum case. Um, now, um, what you should keep in mind is this, that any application you file with the government can, and you're in their office and they're interviewing you, they can inquire into certain things that you've already placed on the record. Um, Especially if they're seeing conflicting information on your applications or the information, the evidence and such that you've shared with them. Sometimes they do cross over and ask questions about something else that's on the record, like an asylum case. Do you have an office in Minnesota? We do not have an office there, but we work with clients in Minnesota as well. We work across all states. What are my chances of getting my asylum case approved? Speak one-on-one with us so that we could do an assessment of your asylum case, and then we'll give you an honest opinion about what we think. Super chat question says that my N400 interview was canceled under the new USCIS country-based pause, which is the 19 countries pause. The applicants' H-1B and green card were approved under the Trump years during Trump 1.0. Will this case face enhanced vetting or re-interview? It's possible that you could be they might call you in for a another interview, because USCIS has said that they're going to be going back to the approved cases. All approved cases is what I believe it says. I don't have that announcement in front of me. The approved cases will be reviewed again. Uh, Cases that were approved since January 2021, when Biden took office, up until now, although they also say that nothing stops them from going back, digging back before that time, before 2021. And so it's possible that they're going to call you back in for an interview. I don't know what country you're from. I think some countries are more likely to be re-interviewed. Folks will be re-interviewed. Like if you're from Afghanistan, I think that they're going to try to call in as many people as possible for an interview. Another super chat question. Hello, I have to do an ICE kiosk check-in in January. I was granted withholding of removal in 2023. Should I be worried? I don't think you should be worried, Caesar. I think that they cannot remove you to your home country of birth, with that withholding of removal on your record. Now, we saw it happen with Kilmar Abrego Garcia, and we see that he is back here in the United States holding press conferences. You see how hard it is to, it's hard for this government to break the law successfully and keep getting away with it, because the judges are really holding them to what they're doing. So with your withholding of removal, I think that you'll be fine. They can't deport you at this time. For those of you who are just joining, I'm Latoya McBean Pompy, an immigration lawyer in New York, working with clients all across the United States and around the globe through McBean Law, where you could learn more about us and our team. Go to McBeanLaw.com and see who we are and what we do. If you would like to read our success stories, they're on our website. Each week we choose one top success stories success story to share with you. So we publish 52 success stories each year. So go to McBeanLaw.com/success to read some of those stories. And as a matter of fact, you also have shared with me some of your success stories, and I'd love to just to say what you've said to me recently to encourage other people. This is Boo Hedge 7730 says, I got a green card in June 2025 after almost 10 years. Since 2016, in deportation proceedings, my case kept getting postponed due to system overload. I also lost my U.S. citizen wife during that period. Ended up raising my stepdaughter on my own. It was a very painful journey, but I'm happy at last. So happy for you. Thank you so much for sharing this story. Guys, you see how long and tough it can be. Thank you so much. La Chapina, ENSF, says, I'm so happy I applied for citizenship in March 2025, and I had the interview on August 8th, 2025, and did not get an answer at that time. However, I got an email on November 17th, 2025, that my case was approved and my ceremony is on December 3rd. So this one is here it is. I'm really so happy, and just have faith, and I'm praying and trusting in God. And here's the update. It says update. I'm so happy. And I officially got my ceremony. I'm now a US citizen. So thank you for the update, and congratulations. That's great. D2 Pretty 6099 says, my detained husband will be released next week in Jesus' name. Congratulations to our client. She's responding to something that I had also shared that day. Edgar Jimenez 4189 says, I got approved at my citizenship interview today. I'm so happy. I'm crying tears of joy. That's awesome. Congratulations to all of the new citizens. As you guys can see, the people are still being approved all across the country. We shared a wonderful success story yesterday. It's kind of long. I'm not going to read all of it, about a client from Peru who met with us in July 2024. He had been living in the United States for several years without lawful status following the revocation of his OPT employment authorization in early 2021 after allegations of exceeding allowable unemployment days. He originally entered the United States on an F1 student visa in 2012, later re-entering in 2016 on another F1, and then working on through OPT before his status was terminated. And then his status was terminated. Despite these challenges, his circumstances changed in mid-2024 when he married a U.S. citizen spouse. And they met with us about the case. We worked on the case, and it's just too long. I'm not going to get into all of the details, but he was approved in October. He had an interview, the adjustment of status interview, in October at the Philadelphia field office, and the case was approved in November, both the I-130 and I-485. So we're really happy for him as well. Friends, immigration still works. Stay connected, keep going, don't stop, just keep believing. And 2026, I'm starting to think about 2026, and you'll be hearing more messages from me about 2026 coming very soon. I want you guys to lean into the joy of this holiday season and find rest. Find rest, guys. It was a tough year, but I really like the news that ICE is shifting their strategy. We need a little bit of the pressure to be taken off, right? But it's still going to be a challenging time in 2026 for a lot of people. So over the next couple of weeks, find some rest and find some joy. We're here for you guys. Stay plugged in. I'll try to come back tomorrow night, on Tuesday night around 8 p.m. Eastern, for an evening live session to go through more questions with you. Thanks so much for being with me, guys. And reach out to us at McBean Law at 914-898-9488 for a consultation. Thanks so much, guys. Have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.